Welcome to LaChance Encounters. I'm Alex LaChance. Please like, subscribe, follow, review, rate. Every platform you're on has a different name for the same thing, but just interact with the things. You see it on social media. Hit those buttons too. Share it. Please help me keep growing this thing. We're doing great, and thank you, everybody, for all your help in that. Today, I am here with somebody who I realized I was supposed to ask how to pronounce his last name, but I'm here with Chuck from Brothers Cortado. Nemiccolo?
Nemiccolo, yeah.
Nemiccolo. Okay, I wasn't too far off.
Yeah, you were pretty close.
Chuck Nemiccolo. Yeah. Well, I thought it with the double C. I think in some languages that makes a ch sound. Yeah. So I was like, I'm not 100% sure, and I was going to ask you when you got here, and I completely forgot until I was in the moment of introducing you. But thanks for being here.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So, Chuck owns my favorite coffee shop in the Concord area, or Concord, I guess. There's not much area. No. There's nothing. There's no businesses in the surrounding towns, really. But yeah, the best cinnamon rolls. My wife is a huge cinnamon roll fan. I think that's how we started coming there because we'd seen them, and she was like, "I got to have that." Yeah. You know, it's Saturdays, right?
Yep,
Every Saturday, the best cinnamon rolls you will have.
For sure.
She's an aficionado on those, and she loves it. So,
cool.
That's how we ended up there. But you're my go-to if I'm going to stop and get a coffee in Concord. I just don't do that very often, unfortunately. But, yeah, the location's great. It's right downtown, that little, it's Bicentennial Square. It's got I don't know what it's called, the rock sculptures.
Yeah, the history on that is it was an artist that had brought in natural feeling Concord, New Hampshire sculptures he had created. And so it's funny. You don't feel as if those should be an attraction, but the children love them.
My daughter loves it. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's specifically asked me to go there
for the turtle or the jumping across the rocks or
going through that. There's like a really skinny I don't fit through it.
No,
middle between the two rocks. She likes to go through. There's like a little tunnel. It's really a cool spot. It's great to grab a coffee. Yeah, and then I can go sit there and let her do her thing. She amuses herself with the rocks.
Yeah, it's really nice because the location is center Concord, really, but you feel like you're not on a main street.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're one block off of the main street.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have
and there's
all
no
the
street
noise
in front
and
of
commotion and all that kind of stuff. It's quite literally a little oasis in Concord that everyone can go to with their families.
Yeah, it's an awesome spot.
Yeah.
You had taken that over from True Brew, was there before.
Correct.
Now, something I saw when I was kind of doing some research, guys, I finally did research for my podcast guest today. Took 27 times of doing this. But they served alcohol and you removed that from the menu. Correct. What was a lot of the people I know who are in the food service business, like getting the liquor license is like such a huge boost for them. There's so much margin on it.
Correct.
So what led you to remove that from the business?
So the actual idea behind that is that I wanted a place, and it's been really hard to establish this, by the way, but I wanted a place in Concord that hopefully was open up late, which we were until recently, and had a place for people that were like straight edge or didn't want to be around alcohol, families, that kind of thing. They had a place they didn't have to be in a bar situation and have fun with their families and friends. They didn't have to have that around them. So that was my pull. I mean, I've been around bars forever.
It's a noble stance because, like I said, there's so much money to be made in that. And, to be able to, being open late as a coffee shop.
Correct.
Not prime time hours.
Yeah, and we had to actually stop that, I think 2 weeks ago, just because I was losing money. Yeah. Nobody was utilizing it. For a while, I was promoting it as possibly like a game night. We had Magic guys come in and play Magic. We have plenty of spaces for that kind of stuff and whatever else. But
I could have had you making plenty of money back when I was playing Magic. Yeah. We were always looking for spots to go later. Right. And we had I don't know. There was at one point there was 10 people all hanging out. But we did drink. But we could go get some at Panucci's and then come over. Come over to you pretty easily.
Yeah. So that was the idea. Right now Concord's not at the place it seems that's like a pull.
Yeah, kind of sleepy at night.
Yep.
Yeah.
I grew up and when I lived out in Colorado in the early 2000s, late night cafes were the jam. That was a huge thing.
In Denver?
Yeah, Denver.
Yeah.
There was this place called Paris in the Platte. That's where I found my
But
love
Denver's
for-
got to be 20
Oh,
times
it's
the
crazy
population
huge.
of
Correct.
Concord, right? Yeah.
Right. And so that was really, unfortunately, the difference, really, right? So you don't have the pull like you would at a place like that with the diversity. But that was my dream anyway, you know what I mean? Like having a place for that as an opportunity.
Yeah.
So
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. But it was like when I read that this morning, I told you before we started, I had ChatGPT give me a bio on you. And I was like, oh, that's interesting that there was a liquor license there and decided not to continue it on. Now you're a family run establishment, right? There's your brother's involved.
Yep. Now my sister's involved. My mom is a part owner with us. Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, how's that dynamic? Do you?
It's crazy.
I couldn't imagine. I mean, my family's not. I mean, we don't have like issues,
right?
But like, I couldn't imagine working full time with my mom. It couldn't happen. But it works well for you guys.
It has its moments for sure, right?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, any situation. I mean, any family in any business is going to have
correct
issues for sure.
But we all, within reason. I mean, it's almost. I wouldn't suggest it. I'll just say that much, right? Because it brings a new complication to the mix, but. Like, for instance, now with my sister now being involved, it gives it like more, there's a bigger backbone to it because we're family and we just want it for it to succeed. And, you know, there's a passion in it. So it has its pluses and minuses for sure. I wouldn't take it back. I think it's great. But yeah, it's definitely a dynamic that's kind of a lot.
Why coffee? Where did you get into coffee specifically?
Yeah. So I moved out to Colorado in the early 2000s. Basically was going to college, was in a band, traveling, and at one point, 24-hour cafes were a thing, right, back then. There was a Starbucks out in, like, the Cherry Street Mall in Denver. And then on the Platte River, there was a place called Paris in the Platte. And it was like a punk rock cafe. And it was, I think it was close to 24 hours some nights. And we used to just chill, like hang out all day, drink coffee, do homework, listen to music. Like, it was a really rad place. It had a really eccentric bookstore attached to it. The Onion was done in Boulder, so we had fresh Onion articles like right there. Like, it was like a really cool place, like every walk of life, from like punk, industrial, lawyers, you know, everything. There was a pastoral event that was happening there, but nobody was like at each other. Like, everyone was kind of just like hanging out. So, like, that's what started coffee for me, like just the community thing. So I always wanted to have that type of thing wherever I was at. Came back home in the early 2004, 2005, and there was nothing. There was nothing like that. And I always told my family and my friends, I'm like, I always wanted to start a cafe, like just to even like try to have that type of thing. And so we went years. I worked for Starbucks for 10 years, then moved to the Elliott Hospital. Worked for 7, had to do not compete, so I couldn't start my own coffee company.
You do not compete for Starbucks? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, because I was a manager. So moved.
I know Starbucks is probably one of the better corporate chains out there, from what I hear. But like, still not paying you enough to make you sign a do not compete. That's crazy.
It was, and you know, me being me, not knowing,
especially who's actually compete. You're not.
How would you compete with
even
that?
now? You're literally there's a Starbucks now within a mile of you.
Yeah,
you're not competing with them. Like, that's not. It's not the same thing.
No,
I go to both establishments, so I'm not going to Starbucks at the same time or for the same reasons that I would go to see you at Brothers.
They have a drive-through.
Yeah, it's not even the drive-through. I just happen to be in that plaza and I'm in a hurry, and it's like I need the fuel. You know,
for sure.
I've actually reduced my coffee intake big time recently.
Yeah. Okay.
I was like, I would buy the Starbucks. Keep going back to Starbucks, but I would buy the Starbucks like jugs, the 48-ounce ones, 4 of them a week.
Oh wow!
I would drink 2 or 3 of those before 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
I just recently, I had to curb that a little bit. I started drinking, and I want to get sponsored by this, but I've been drinking Body Brain coffee. It's an instant coffee.
Okay.
You can drop it in hot water or cold.
Yep.
and it's freeze-dried Colombian coffee. I don't know where it's sourced from. And then it's also like ashwagandha, and there's like 5 different
Regions.
L-theanine, or
Okay.
there's like supplemental stuff,
Yep.
like stuff that's supposed to be good for concentration, and nothing proved by the FDA. But what do we trust them anyway?
No.
But yeah, it's but I swear, like the first day I drank that,
Yeah.
it got to be noon. I'm like, I had one cup, and I'm like, it got to be noon, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm not looking for more coffee. I don't want more caffeine. And
Yeah.
I was getting like jittery and having massive crashes. So
Yeah.
for me, it was good to back off a little bit on the
Yeah,
coffee.
yeah.
Like, this is my second cup. That's kind of normal. We're at 10 o'clock.
Yep.
I had my body brain.
Yep.
And it's like, this is more of an enjoyable coffee.
Yeah.
I said, oh, cool. He's bringing me good coffee.
Yeah.
It's better than the Starbucks jug. I still get the Starbucks jug, just one a week. But yeah, you guys don't roast your own beans, do you?
We don't roast. That's part of my plan. It's kind of pushed back now because of the way coffee is in the United States. But
I was going to get to that too.
yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But I do want to roast, but I want to elevate that as well. So we make everything out in-house. The cold brew we make in-house. Everything we do is by hand. It is roasted by Rare Breed out of Nashua. But we basically handpicked with them what we use. So it's really just a white label us. It's just what we decided.
Are they doing like a proprietary, like specific for you, like
pretty much
a bean just for you? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a couple agreements, and it's been great. So roasting is going to happen as long as the market doesn't completely crash. But yeah, that's probably 5 to 10 years out now. Let's see what happens. But yeah, I want to do something different with that as well. Like make it like an experience for the customer and for the staff.
Yeah, when I'm in Manchester, I go to Hometown.
Yep.
And they have their roaster right
there. Yeah.
And I think about that. I'm like, they could put on like a little show. Like,
They should.
Because they do it,
Right.
but it's like, if you just happen to be there.
Have classes.
But yeah, that too, yeah. But it's like, this is like a really cool visual thing to see. And
Right.
like, like I think they could do more with that. I mean, they do well anyway. It's a nice spot. But just it was something that I thought of in the past too. Yeah, I in my research, I had stumbled on something with you talking to Gene Shaheen.
Yep.
Senator, right?
Yep.
I'm bad at remembering.
Yeah.
I know
I'm
these
terrible,
names,
by the way.
I know the names was like connect them to what they do, and
I could
in
care
the
less
moment.
about politics, so I was just like, "What is she now?" And like,
I hate them all. Is where it boils down to. She could be a fine person, but in general, I can't stand
I'm the same boat.
politicians. I just feel like they're at the national level anyway. So local people, there you find some caring individuals, but on the national level, I feel like everybody's in it for themselves, and I don't get too hung up on any of it. But I did see that you had a conversation with her through some way. I didn't get too many details about it. About the tariffs and how that's affecting. I think that's what you were alluding to recently about how the coffee market is. So
we not only talked to her, but we talked to another center. And sorry, internet and podcast listeners, terrible with names, but Ro Kanan from California, I think his name is, another Democrat. And by the way, I asked anybody, left or right, whoever, I don't care, to come and talk to me and make things make sense.
And that's the right thing to do when, we need to work together when there's an issue. Yeah.
Like you, I don't really care for the politics. I don't. Like, that's what I stand on even in my shop. I'm like, I'm not left or right here. Like, this is a place for everybody. But this is affecting my community. Like, it's affecting, like, coffee shops are closing all over the place now. That
now, can you back that up and give the what specifically has happened? Because I know there's tariffs and it's there's so much in different levels and where I don't even know where coffee typically comes from. I did mention Colombian earlier, but I don't know if that's
Brazil
like
is the big problem right now, right? Now a lot of regions are a big problem right now, but Brazil is the biggest problem, and I know that they're working on that in Congress, whatever. But there's like a 50% tariff on coffee. The argument is...
And it went from 0 to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as I know. So coffee prices for the shops, for roasters, for anybody that's trying to get it in America is like through the roof. And then the prices are also getting raised by the producers because they need to pick up the slack Not only that, so you add those on top of it. So the coffee prices are just through the roof.
And now this is typically you're talking raw beans coming here and then getting roasted here.
Exactly. No one typically you don't see it roasted in another country. They just give them a green bean here, and then we roast it. In New Hampshire. And
I didn't know they started green.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Yeah, that's what they're called anyway. Some are not actually green or white.
Gotcha.
But
you actually turn green beans into coffee.
Oh, like string beans.
Yeah, string beans.
Okay.
String beans actually become coffee.
I never knew that.
Pea pod. No.
You heard it here first. Start roasting.
Roasting them.
Go to Market Basket. Go to Demoulas right now.
Yeah, get your string beans. Get one of those things you can put on the stove and do like this.
And you'll have and then strain some water through it.
Let me know how it tastes. By the way.
I would like a review. Actually, Nick, in your series of dipping Oreos in anything but, you need to make your own green bean coffee.
Yeah,
and add that.
Yeah,
I'll add it to the list.
Yes, thank you.
Mushy peas dipping coffee.
Pea water.
Yeah,
bean water. I mean, that is people call it, and I drink just black coffee most of the time. So it's like literally bean water. Where were we going with that?
So basically, the long and the short of it is prices are increasing.
Yeah.
And we don't roast our own, so we're at the mercy of our roaster. They're doing as much as they can, keep in mind, to keep the prices low as much as they can to survive, right? So
because if they run you guys out of business, they have nothing,
right?
Yeah.
So they're doing great. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the fact that the argument is real quick is that the tariffs are for things that we can do in America. That's what you're supposed to be doing, bringing jobs home, right?
That's the theory,
right? You can't grow coffee in America. You can grow some Kona coffee in Hawaii, and then I think Puerto Rico, right? But it's not even close to what we need to supply.
I mean, because everybody's drinking multiple cups a day. I mean, probably it's got to be 95% of people drink coffee every day.
Think about New England and Dunkin' Donuts in the line you see at your local Dunkin' Donuts. So that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And it's tough.
Now, I was going to ask you this, and I don't even mean this as a political controversial way, but is there a way, could we create an environment indoors to grow coffee here?
There's an argument that they're saying that is plausible, right? Well, there's multiple factors involved, and we're not going to get too deep because this could take the whole podcast. But the idea is there's soil, right? So volcanic soil is good for coffee. Mountainous soil.
I just went to Hawaii a couple months ago, and the coffee was phenomenal.
Yeah, it is.
On it, you go. When I travel, I notice it's maybe every other cup is decent.
Yeah.
In Hawaii, it was every place I went was good.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's Kona coffee. Typically, they're actually having 100% Kona. That's a whole different thing, but you're going to get a good cup of coffee there for sure. The big problem is that, yes, you technically could grow anything in a greenhouse, but you need elevation, which is another thing.
You can't create that type of
barometer. You could, but it's not going to be
crazy expensive to make.
I mean, just the overhead alone
to create fake elevation,
and then the manpower to do it.
Yeah,
at
the end of the day, labor is more expensive here than everywhere else.
Right.
Yeah.
So it really comes down to the argument is it's like bananas. It's a tax. It's a tax of bananas and coffee. So it's not actually a tariff. It's not something feasible to be done in the United States.
Okay, and that makes a lot of sense. I never really thought of it, and it's on the face value, it makes sense. Let's get the stuff back here. Yeah. But if you can't do it here, and the other thing that I would push back on, and again, I try not to get too political, but the thing I would push back on in tariffs in general is okay, but what about because to get these manufacturers back in the U.S., I mean, to have that infrastructure, to train people, to set up these factories, we're talking decades of transition. Yeah. In the meantime, can we afford to take on these higher costs to try to make that happen, to punish everybody to make it happen?
Correct.
Where does that, how does that
leave
work?
us? Right.
Yeah, that's
a whole
that's
different infrastructure I don't think we want.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, you certainly don't want to see small businesses disappearing.
Right.
We don't want Starbucks to be the only place to get a coffee downtown Concord. And right now, and it's crazy, there's Revelstoke, William and Sons, totally. Gibson's in the bookstore has their own the Bean and Bakery, the Works. Then you got Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks. If you go to New Hampshire Donut Company, they have coffee. How is that little city supporting so many coffee people?
Believe me, we're wondering ourselves. Right?
I realized that one day. I think I had gone to you one day, and I left and I walked past. I mean, a block away, there's the Bean and Bakery.
Yep.
And I was like, how are all these here?
Correct.
It's impressive.
Correct. It's impressive, and we can't do much more. Get what I mean?
Nobody else open a coffee shop, please.
Please.
Don't do this to
I will
them.
support you in any other town, for the love of God. I will come to your shop once a week and support you in any other town.
Yeah. It's
Do you
like
mind if I jump in? Real quick? One of the things that like made Starbucks so popular, or like work so well originally, is that like the markup on coffee used to be like super good, where it would cost like cents to make a cup of coffee. You could sell it for $6 or $7.
Right.
Is that still the case, or has that changed since over
It's
the last
still
30
low.
years?
It's not even close to what their margins were.
well, especially as they grew and expanded too,
Right.
because then their buying power becomes
Yep.
better.
And they're also using and not to break the illusion, but they're using low end beans. So they're buying the lowest bid.
So what is Dunkin' Donuts using?
Same
then?
thing. They're coming.
It's-
They're
they-
pulling from the same store. They're just roasting it differently.
Okay, because
Know what I mean?
Dunkin' to me, and I have no, I apologize because I know there are some local franchisees that are good people, but Dunkin' Donuts as a product is the worst.
Yep.
I mean, literally so far, like I
It's
will
coffee. It's real coffee.
I
water.
avoid it. I have to be desperate. Now, my daughter does love the egg and cheese wake up wrap, so that's when I end up at Dunkin' Donuts when I need a quick lunch for her on the road because I drag her around to do real estate business sometimes. But I mean, I just don't even understand how there's like
Loyalty.
a line.
Loyalty.
Loyalty to what? Like, why are you loyal to
Heritage.
the? Yeah,
It's crazy.
It is. That's New England heritage.
Yeah.
Who says white people don't have culture?
Yeah, exactly. The D&D. Duncan.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, their branding's good. That like every time you see Ben Affleck, Ben Affleck with a cup of Dunkin', it's like it's
They did
reinforcing
SNL
their
skits
brand.
on it for Pete's sakes.
Yeah. So, what do you know going forward with these tariffs? Are you seeing anything? Is anything coming down the pipe to change this, or
I think they're working in the Senate bipartisanly because of this to make that an exception.
Yeah.
Coffee the exception. So let's hope, right? Keep in mind, I'm paying attention, but I also run a business, so I can't pay that much attention.
I know, yeah. I mean, I get 12 emails a week about law changes in real estate. I can't. I mean, I try my
keep up.
best, but it's like sometimes like, ooh, whoops, I missed. I missed that. Yeah.
So let's cross our fingers that they understand and see, and they see how big of an uproar it is.
Yeah.
That they start changing.
Now, is the coffee business one where like all those ones that I mentioned? Do you know all those owners? Do you guys all kind of support each other?
Yeah,
do you unify
I know
on things
I
like
do.
this?
That's my big thing is I try to strengthen the coffee community. I try once a week. All those ones you named off, I try to go to every single one.
Wow, that's awesome.
And everyone thinks
that's
like
impressive.
I'm like they're like, are you poaching? I'm like, no, I actually like believe me when I say I want to support coffee.
Yeah.
Because I believe in it. And I understand where they're coming from. So, like, I typically will try to hit them all. When I take a vacation, I try to hit any coffee place and support coffee, right? And support the baristas. I'll, tip heavy, all that crap because I get it. Like, so, yeah, I mean, I really do try to, like, that's where my focus is.
You're my first Concord business owner I've had on. I've done a lot of Manchester businesses, and what I've noticed is the downtown Manchester. I had Nick Carnes.
Yep.
He's Shoppers, and now he's opening New Hampshire's first booze-free bar.
Yeah, cool.
Him and Dan Haggerty just took over Mocha Pot.
Yep.
And, but anyway, those guys, like that community down there, they're all working together. And I noticed this just as a bar hopper at one point because I forget where I went. I think I went to 815. Yeah. And we said we were going over to Industry East, or maybe it was vice versa. But the bartender said, "Oh, can you bring this over there?" And they made up like a custom cocktail and then put it in like a closed jar and said, "Bring this over." Yeah. Apparently that's a thing that they do. They like ship over, like, "Hey, try this thing," and it's just neat to see that community and see people working together. And it's like, something that Nick had pointed out to me when I had him on was like, if people are coming to Shoppers or people are coming to Mocha Pot or whatever, they're going to see every other business and they're going to go, "Oh, I'm going to try that." So if you're just bringing people in, no matter if they're joining your business that day or somebody else's business that day, they're coming into town.
Correct.
And they're going to keep coming back because they're going to go, oh, this is a nice area. The more you build everybody up, the more they're going to come back and come to your spot.
Yep.
And it's I think it's like our generation. How old are you?
I'm 42.
You forgot?
Yeah, I did. Oh, man. I'm 43, I do believe, yeah.
I'm 42. So we're about the same age.
yeah.
And I think it's like our generation is kind of collectively realizing this. Like, we're not in competition with each other.
No.
You know, we're really can build in our own communities. We can build each other up.
We
Like,
can.
I never I see real estate agents get all mad because like their friend used somebody else, and I'm like, who cares?
Yeah.
Go talk to somebody else.
Yeah.
Like great that
They got what you need, apparently. Like,
you didn't do it. It's your fault. You didn't do a good job showing them the value. And it's like also, I mean, I get it. Like sometimes you don't want to work with friends.
Yeah.
Especially on something so big. I get like some people are very comfortable working with me because we're friends, they trust me. Other people I get that they're like, I'd rather work with a stranger in case this goes bad. I don't want the relationship ruined. You know? I get it.
Yeah.
Or you know, and now I do mortgages too. I'm looking at people's personal finances, their bank statements, what they're purchasing.
Right.
Like I don't really look at that. I just look at the balance.
Yeah.
But I could. And it's like, you know, if I see their 12 OnlyFans subscriptions on there, you know, like that could be embarrassing. So I understand why somebody might not want to work with me.
Right.
Well, how to get down on that tangent?
So basically, like,
just talking about community working together.
So as much as I can, I always try to reach out to the coffee community. Like I just, for instance, I'm not a smart person. I forgot the town. Not Epsom, Pennacook. It's a vintage cup.
Oh, I just saw when I actually Googled to make sure I didn't miss anybody on my list of coffee shops, which I still might have. But I saw that one in Pembroke, and I didn't know about it.
Yep.
And that's
vintage cup.
7 minutes or so from me.
So recently, last Thursday, I went down there, and they asked me, can you help us? Like, they just opened up, and I'm like, yeah. So I just came down, and
they just opened up?
Like, because maybe a month ago.
They had like 40 Google reviews, which is pretty good for just starting
the spot is rad.
Is it the did they convert the restaurant that was there that's changed hands a bunch of times?
I think it was a general store at one point, but maybe a restaurant. I'm not sure where the area
is. Is it right the downtown like Suncook?
So you know that strip there, and you have Shirley's, and they have a vintage shop or like consignment something. It's a little further down. Then you take if you're going away from Shirley's, you take your left, and it's like a couple blocks down.
Okay, I think I know the spot.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's if you took that road this way, and there's like that parking that you can access, the public parking right there in that little. But anyway, I went down there and they asked me, what's going on? Can you help us with anything? And I just gave them notes, like what I would suggest to make them better. Like they're so cozy, like it's a good place to bring a family or whatever else or read a book. I was like, you need to have Fajir cups for anyone that walks into this place.
Have what?
Fajir cups.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, if they have a cup of, so
they were doing everything to go.
Yeah, pretty much. They had some. But I was like, just that little note. Like, and they love that, like, what are you doing with coffee? And let me show you how to steam, like, what I do in the steam milk. All that kind of stuff. So, like, that's just an example. Like, if someone asks me, I'm going to help them with their company, like, because I'd rather see them succeed than to them struggle and not have anyone reach out to them and help.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, and again, it's like, you're not competition with a coffee shop.
Even if they were, I would still do it.
Yeah.
Like New Hampshire Donut Co. I've asked the owner, I'm like, if you guys need help, like training your staff about how to steam drinks, let me know. I'll come in. And
because they're probably not like confections aren't coffee. Yeah. That's probably not why.
That's not their specialty.
Coffee isn't what they.
They serve it, but
doing better coffee will prevent their clients from leaving there and going to get coffee. Because I've done it. I have gotten a donut and then coming to you for coffee because I don't even know. I've never even had your coffee. I couldn't tell you if it's good or bad.
Right.
But I just assume you're better.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. And they do great donuts over there. I checked them out years ago.
Yeah.
Because they used to have the spot down in Chichester.
Yep.
And I was like, it's okay. And then I went back recently, and I was like, wow, they really,
leveled up.
Maybe they stepped up somehow. Yeah. And that's another point that you brought up there is like the little tweaks.
Yeah.
Talking about the one in Vintage in Pembroke. It's like you're suggesting these little tweaks. I find a lot of, and maybe that's why your space feels so good to walk into because you have that detailed mindset and you do think about improving. Mm-hmm. I feel like so many food service businesses in general don't. They open, they have their concept, and then they stop.
Yeah,
they never like make adjustments.
Yeah,
like I was talking about this room. Like I I set it up one way. We shot 2 episodes, and I've completely rearranged it because I was like, that didn't work for me.
Yeah.
And there's already, when Nick came in here today, he's like, you got to lower this TV.
Yeah.
Like, I'll continue to make tweaks. But I feel like a lot of restaurants just never improve.
Right. Well,
Is there a reason
they
for that,
lock
you
it
feel
in.
like?
They think they have to lock it in, and then they just push.
Yeah.
And like yourself, like me, you realize that there's always, like, we are not perfect by any shape of the, like.
Perfect doesn't exist.
Right.
I think people need to know
We
that.
need to change a lot of shit constantly, right? And still. But
But things happen too that are outside your control that you have to adjust for too.
Yep. And so making those micro adjustments and taking advice and seeing what can be better will make you better, and not being prideful and like, I'm doing everything right. And some of these, like you're saying, like some of these places just lock it in and then they just go. And people are like, what about this? And then the shop owner might get upset about getting like a note.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's not the point. They're just trying to help you. Like, they're, sometimes they're assholes.
Some people
but-
are just jerks.
Yeah.
When you read Google 1-star Google reviews,
gosh.
it's like, I mean, come on, what are you expecting out of these people?
Like, one of the 1 stars we got was the guy was like, it's too pricey or something like that. And then I saw that he did a 5-star review at McDonald's for their coffee.
I mean-
you know what I mean? So like,
and hey, don't get me wrong. I don't know. Are they still Newman's?
I think they might be, or
Like,
White Mountain or something.
Newman's is fine.
Yeah.
And it's $1 a cup of
Yeah.
coffee.
Back when
there
they
is
released
good value there.
Back when they released
I don't think
that
it's $1
program,
anymore.
I
but-
thought it was a decent cup of coffee.
Yeah.
I still do,
Yeah.
right?
I dunk actually on my way back in my old 9-to-5 life, really like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Life. But I would go to McDonald's there was a Dunkin' Donuts and McDonald's right next to each other on my way into work, and McDonald's is where I went for my coffee over Dunkin's.
Yeah.
I've always thought that. I was actually going to say it earlier that McDonald's has the best fast food coffee.
It easily does.
I've never seen you drink coffee.
Well, I definitely have drank. I basically, the doctor told me I needed to either give up coffee or energy drinks. So I used to drink like
I see. That's right. Yeah.
energy drinks. And
That's
then,
what you always have is energy drink. Because Chuck texted me or DM'd me about if I wanted coffee.
Yeah.
And I almost asked you. I'm like, I've never seen Nick drink coffee. I'm not going to bother.
Yeah,
'Cause
no,
you weren't here yet.
I used to drink a ton of coffee, and then the doctor was like, "Yeah, you got to give
Gotta
up.
stop.
You got to give up one of them."
Yeah, yeah.
So
I wonder
stuck
if
with
that's
energy
part of
drinks.
my blood pressure problem is all the caffeine.
There's arguments there.
Yeah.
So there's arguments that it actually is helping for circulation, for blood pressure. But in excess, I'm sure it's not. You know what I mean?
You know, it's fun. Like years and years ago, I did MMA, and my coach would come in with a Dunkin's large
For sure.
every time.
Yep.
And I'm like, coffee and working out? That's so weird to me. Now it's like very normal. You read these guides from these fitness gurus, and like cup of coffee is part of the diet always.
Bullet coffee was from like that type of camp.
Right,
like
right, exactly.
getting the protein gain on top of having coffee.
When I dabbled in keto, and let me just say, all these fad diets just come up with a nice round approach to. But if you need to lose weight quick, and sometimes I think that head start on the process, because I've lost 100 pounds twice, I've gained it back multiple times. I've always battled and gone up and down, so I've done all these things. But the key, like sometimes you do need that like just boost in the beginning, but then switch very quickly to just eating a round good diet, like a normal sustainable thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, the thing that the keto was butter in the coffee.
Yeah, the
And
bulletproof.
and it was so. That's what you're talking about. But it's like so good.
Yeah.
Like it was.
Creamy.
I was like, wow, this is like I like this better than cream. I normally don't use cream.
Yeah.
At all.
If
I
you
just
think about it-
I cut out cream and sugar like
Yep.
very like slowly back when I was like maybe 22, 23. Just at that time I was losing weight. It was like my first, and then I was like just never went back. And now if there's anything in a coffee, I'm like, what is this? This is like. Like I'll get a latte occasionally. That's a different thing.
Yeah, it's a different thing.
But like, I'm like sugar. Ugh, like,
Yeah.
why does this taste so sweet? Like,
Yeah,
you can put
yeah.
like a drop, and
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. So I think the what was I gonna say? The bullet coffee, all of those things. Like it's funny, bullet coffee being creamy and good. If you think about it, cream, like half and half, whatever, it's just not salted butter. Like get what I mean? It's it's same thing.
On salted coffee, you
And they're
see
just
you see
whipping it.
salted caramel
Yeah.
like flavors.
Salt
a lot.
and coffee
like,
actually works too, which is weird.
Have you dipped on Oreo in coffee yet? That could
Yeah,
be a
what's
good one.
going on
Nick.
with that?
Oh, he's not even paying
Not
attention. He's
even
got
paying
the
attention.
headphones on, and it's still not. We're talking directly in his ears, and he's not paying any attention at all. Yeah. So we talked about this before we started. You grew up in Loudon.
Yep.
Loudon is one of these places that I feel like there is nothing there.
Nothing.
Like, what is it? I grew up in a very small town, but
Yeah.
we had 7 lakes. So in the summer, our population like quadrupled.
Right.
And that was what we had.
Right.
And so there was a little bit of business built up around that.
We had the track.
The track, yeah. Is that really was that what it's like growing up there?
So-
It's just like I live in this racing community.
Yeah.
Except it's like
It's a big part of
it's
it.
only once a year now, but it was like
It was twice a year back in the
for a
day.
long time.
So you had to plan a whole weekend around not being
a
in your
lot
town.
of people I talk to, they leave
or to
They're just
stay
like, God,
camp at your own
Yeah.
house, basically.
Yeah.
So we had that. That's a huge thing in our town, or was, right? And then the next one is Maple Weekend, is also
Okay.
huge. So we have this thing called the Ridge, is what locals will call it. It's Loudon Ridge, and basically it's just a ton of sap houses. Okay, so like you'll have that, like orchard weekends, or like apple picking. We have Meadow Ledge Farm. So that's basically all you got, right?
Yeah, you can spend $25 for 8 apples,
Right,
these
right.
days.
Yeah,
I don't know about.
exactly.
I've never been specific. I'm not talking trash on those specific
Yeah, yeah.
places because I've never been. But that's what it feels like.
It feels like that for
Yeah.
sure. So you have those types of things, but it's very much, or it has changed. It's very much like a hick, like country town, like rolling hills, farms. I grew up out in Loudon, so like
Belmont, Gilmanton side.
it was in the center of where Loudon started. It was the old center of Loudon. So if you know Loudon at all, 129 goes out into Loudon, right? And then there's Pittsfield Road goes this way, Youngs Hill Road goes that way. I lived on Youngs Hill Road, the first house on the left. So like we owned like I think 30 acres. And we had a little...
Out there is my favorite street name I've ever seen. Beehole Road.
I lived on Beehole Road. Butthole Road. Yeah. So anytime people like ask where you live or they get directions, I'm like, you're going to laugh. Get ready.
Yeah.
It's Beehole Road. And so we lived way out there. So yeah, it was, you basically learned how to have an imagination, really. Like back then, it's that stereotypical old guy thing, but I had a friend that lived like 4 miles away. I biked to his house.
Yeah.
On a dirt road.
Yeah, that's how I grew up too. We were biking all over town. I mean, it wasn't strange to do 20 miles on your bike in a day as a 13-year-old.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Got your skin your knee on a big hill. Like it didn't, you just kept on going.
Yeah, we had huge hills where I grew up. I crashed so hard a few
So
times.
hard. Me too. Ripped all the skin off my leg. It was.
I had to walk home. It was like I mangled my bike so
Yeah.
bad. 4 miles pushing a bike,
Yeah.
blood gushing
Yeah.
down my leg. It's funny. It's like if that was my kid,
Yeah.
like I would probably like be a little freaked out. But I remember back in those days, like I walk in, like, oh, you need a Band-Aid?
Yeah, you need
like,
a Band-Aid? Come over here. We're gonna rub that off a little bit.
We're just gonna
Put
spray some
Bactine.
peroxide in it. Yeah, that's fun.
So like that's the way I grew up. My dad, like, there's a classic story. My dad he was a Harley guy, and we had no money when I was young. We lived in basically a glorified double wide, but it was an old 200-year-old house. And basically I was helping him get a rubber hammer for his chrome on his bike. And so I ran over, got the rubber hammer, was running back, fell, and the rubber hammer hit the ground and busted my nose flat. Right? How that happened, I don't know, but it happened. And my dad just goes, all right, just pitched them together, popped my nose back into place, blood poured out. He goes, "You're fine," and that was it. Like,
it's funny because, like, as you know, I grew up in the hardcore punk scene, and like I've seen that hundreds of times, and it's horrific every time.
Yeah.
Like you see this mangled nose and just push it back into shape is disgusting.
I've seen
but
knees flip a different way. You just pop it back into place.
Yeah. Thanks to knees typically end up needing surgery,
Yeah,
but you
yeah,
can
yeah.
get it. You can get yourself hobbled back.
Yep.
But it's like for the nose, we were just always like, this is exactly what the doctor is going to do,
Yeah.
and thanks
That's
to the healthcare system in this country, we weren't going to go. So we just took care of
Stitches
it.
in the parking lot.
I definitely know people who have done homemade stitches for sure.
Yeah. Butterflies, just throw them on.
Yeah, I've seen actual. I mean, if you're a piercer, I mean, how many piercers and tattoo artists I know? It's like they're not. That's not doesn't scare them.
No,
like just it's sewing on skin.
Right.
It's not
right.
that.
And the
not that
person getting it done is just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
typically.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was curious because I've had clients that moved to Loudon, but I've never had anybody that grew up there. And I grew up in a very small town.
Yeah.
It sounds like we all have the same experience, and it's like I'm raising my kid now in a small town too.
Yeah. You know what's funny? It's because I live in Loudon that I got into punk and hardcore, right? So when I was young, when I was fat and young, right, we had a little skate park at the rec field, which is right by the police station, fire station, whatever. And I would skateboard on this flat thing of concrete trying to lose weight because I thought that was dumb. I was a dumb kid, so I was just like, this is going to do it.
I mean, it's activity.
But the Hicks in town with their Lehigh boots and whatever else, this is back when grunge was a thing. They would sing Spoon Man or something, Fat Boy or whatever that song was. And then they would put cigarettes out on me. Yeah, Silverchair. Yeah. They would put cigarettes out on me and pour beer on me and beat me up every time. And I wasn't a narc, so I wasn't going to rat on them. The cops come and be like, what's happening to you? I'm like, nothing. Like, I just continue to skateboard. So then these like hardcore kids from Haverhill or something like that. This is like the mid 90s. They're like, what are you doing? Why aren't you hanging out with those guys? And I'm like, because fuck those guys. That's why. Like, I didn't want to hang out with those guys. And basically, they took me under their wing and they're like, you want to hang out with us? And they were straight edge or whatever. And I was like, yeah, fuck drugs, fuck all that shit. Because I was, I have scars of cigarettes and alcohol. Yeah. Grew up with family. My parents, they've completely changed their lives now. They're great people, but they were doing all that. And I was drinking cans of cigarette butts, thinking it was Coke, like all that kind of stuff. So
I did that to myself recently. I have an occasional cigar, and I was flicking it in a water bottle, and I picked up the water bottle and took a swig.
Yeah.
Sucks.
It sucks. It's the worst. Yeah. So that's what happened. I came up like straight edge, whatever. Those Cafe Clips, hung out there all the time. Then moved out to Colorado and found a different scene completely, all that. But it's what Loudon was what got me into that. That and my cousin. My cousin was a huge into like punk, so I used to go hang out with him at shows at like the Elvis Room, and
I never got to go to the Elvis Room. I went to a Clips. So I grew up in Maine.
Yep.
And I didn't start coming. A couple times I made it down to New Hampshire and Mass in high school, but mostly Maine shows. Yeah. But I went to I remember going to Eclipse in an absolute blizzard. Yeah. It was Reach the Sky, Kicked in the Head, the Lizardos. Yeah.
Red Knight Right Hand opened it, right?
Maybe. I think everywhere back then. I think I remember Emily Hickok, who you know. I think I remember her telling me she either booked that or was involved in booking that or something. She was a kid at the time too. I mean, 16 or so. It's like, but it was Reese Sky who I loved, and I must have seen that band 50 times when I was a kid, and like would go anywhere. I'm like, there's no way we're not driving in this 2 feet of snow to get there. It's funny. Sure. Years later, it's like I remember like having shows booked in my own bands and they get canceled because of the snow. I'm like, what happened?
What happened?
What happened to us?
Life's too easy.
I remember getting very mad. It was like another friend who was in one of the other bands for canceling in a snowstorm. He's like, why am I going to kill myself to come play our stupid music? Like, I'm like, because that's what we do.
Yeah, that's what we do.
That's what we've always done.
Yeah. I've Christian, the guy that ran Cafe Clips and all the other places, hates me. So I remember
he hates most people. He hates most actually, despite being an integral part of a certain era of hardcore. Yeah. He doesn't like it.
No, I'm not.
That's what I feel. I've never talked to him personally, so I can't catch too much judgment.
I've talked to him, but it's usually get out. I'm calling the cops.
Yeah, and that's never happened to me specifically, but it's happened to the people I was with.
Yeah,
that day. Yeah.
It's funny. Like I remember Cafe Clips and
he had Drifters in Nashua,
Drifters,
and then the last one in Pembroke or whatever.
I never went.
Ground Zero.
I went, and then he saw me, and he knew that I wasn't coming. Like, and keep in mind, I never caused shit. Like. Halfway through Drifters in that time, I was like, I'm not causing shit, and he still like had a grudge. Like he's like, you're not allowed in here.
Yeah,
and it was all stemmed from Cafe Clips. Like I wasn't a friendly person back then, so I didn't have a lot of friends. Like I didn't like anybody, and so I didn't know like Emily. All these people were around me. I was never talking to any of them because it just wasn't my style. Like I was just like, I'm just going to be my own, and then. So from that point on, I was never allowed at the shows, but I remember Cafe Clips and they would be open through anything.
Yeah.
But
that's how it was. I remember going to so many shows in blizzards, and like the turnouts would be lower.
Yeah,
that's for sure. But that show went on. I remember seeing Death Threat in Portland. In the middle of a snowstorm, and like nobody was there.
Yeah, still.
I mean, that's one of the most legendary. A lot of people have that Death Threat as like number one or top five. Man. Like it's one of the prolific, been around forever. Yeah. Like always been the same. Always awesome guys, and like nobody was there. I mean, no,
Yeah.
very. And I remember what Aaron was selling merch after their set out of like a trash bag. Like, didn't even set up a table. And I bought a hoodie, and I was like, I was probably like 16. Like, buying a hoodie was like, that was 4 hours of work at Burger King, to buy that hoodie.
Right.
And and
Me
he was
at a
like,
gas
but he
station.
was so appreciative. He's like, thank you so much. Like, thank you so much. Like, really? He was like,
But
shocked
that's why he
that I
was
gonna
doing
buy,
it.
and-
That for kids like you coming to a show. You know what I mean?
And that's like how I always felt playing in bands. It's like,
These
it might
people are
suck.
showing up.
It might suck for us that we drove
Right.
so far to play for nobody, but it's never nobody,
Right.
And it matters to those people that are there, and you gotta
Plus,
give it your all. You know?
Plus, they got to have a conversation with somebody they probably looked up to or thought they were rad.
Right,
you know what
yeah.
I mean?
Oh, that was huge to have a personal conversation.
Yeah.
Because it's like, now I know everybody. The mystique is gone.
Right.
They
But
say
when you were a kid,
they
it
say
wasn't.
never meet your heroes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I've met way too many of them. And Death Threat doesn't fall in this category. From everything I know about all those guys is great. But yeah, it's like at that point, it's like, whoa, this is like a celebrity that I'm meeting, and it's like I see that with
Because it
someone.
was for you.
Yeah, and I see that with like my friends now. Like I went up to Maine to see Haywire and Austin, who I've played in a band with. I've known
amazing.
since
I've
he
been
was
watching him everywhere.
Oh, it's crazy. But I've known him since he was 17.
Yeah.
He moved here at 17 to take over Anchors Up in Handle, and I had to wait in line to talk to him because it was essentially a default meet and greet situation. There was a line of kids that wanted to take pictures with him, and it's like funny to watch. And I was like, I can't believe I had to just fucking wait in line to shake her hand. What the fuck? But it's amazing. I mean, they're doing grabs, so happy to see that. Yeah, they just they just announced they're doing 3 shows with Dropkick Murphys for the St. Patrick's weekend.
Yeah.
And they're doing Europe with them too. Yeah. But Europe's over there. I just pointed to my right, they're doing Europe over there. I don't even know which direction my house faces in, to be honest. That's one of the things I'm worst at in real estate is knowing because people are very into like what exposure does this house have, and I've never. That's not important to me.
Right.
I've never thought about that ever in choosing where I live.
Right.
But it's very important to some people. And I'm like, I don't know what direction. I follow GPS here like everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think going back to what you were saying about growing up in a small town and that being something that led you to hardcore music was like, I've been having tons of Haywire actually is probably the catalyst to this because I was, I kind of drifted away for a lot of years, had a kid, and it's like, it's much harder. And it's like, I was in some, I hang around and still do hang around a kind of rough crowd. And I was kind of like figuring out how to distance myself a little bit to be a family man. And it's like, now I think I've found the balance and I'm going back more. But like seeing them do so well and, coming from my kind of lineage in the scene is like, it was really neat and kind of brought me back into it. So I've ended up through the course of this having a lot of like really philosophical conversations with a lot of people. Brandon from Yellow Stitches was here last night. He's doing a concrete pad for my new hot tub.
Oh, cool.
Out behind the house.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how he grew up in a small town too, Rumney. We were talking about like why you end up finding your way into hardcore. And I think there's so many, I think there's a big thought process that it's like really fucked up kids. Like it's like people, and there are some, like some people have these horrific stories of upbringing. That's what led them to hardcore. But for so many of us, it's like we just felt lost for some reason. Like by all metrics, my parents were great.
Yeah, me too.
I grew up in a 2-parent household. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. Grew up in a rural town. They did everything for me. Like they didn't have a lot of that, but I never knew it. They made sure like I got to ski, I got to play baseball, like whatever it was. We didn't do big fancy trips. Like what my kid has is like 10 times what I ever had growing up. But to me, I had everything I needed, and I had a great childhood.
Right.
But I still felt this,
need for something.
Like I didn't feel like I belonged.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I had a home.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of it's sad to think about because I should have.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, something in my wiring made me felt like I didn't have a home. I didn't have a family.
Right.
I didn't connect with it the way that I should have, and I don't know why. I've talked to many therapists about this.
Yeah.
And I still have no idea where the disconnect happened. And it's like,
I'm very similar to that as well.
My parents weren't. I mean, nobody's perfect. You know, there's just definitely things that they could have done better. But it's like at the end of the day, there's things I could do better as a parent.
Correct.
I'm only 8 years into it. Wait
Right.
till we get to the teenage years. I'm going to fuck that up constantly. But, you know, anyway, hardcore is, and the reason I think there's violence around it, the reason there's so much drama and controversy sometimes, and people are so passionate about it and so quick to defend it, and is because we all found that as a family at 18, you know, 16, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, but old ages to find your first family, right?
Yeah.
Because you should from birth feel like you have a home and a family, right? And it's like, but it's like, it also shows like, no, but you can do everything right as a parent, and it can still happen, you know? But I think we're so vehemently willing to defend that because it's like the only family we know. Right. And, you know, rationally, I can say, I have a family that was great. That still supports me to this day. My mom will probably watch this.
Yep.
You know, great family that does anything to help me anytime. No questions asked. But for some reason I still felt lost, and like finding hardcore, like, but I joke around about Blood for Blood has it in the kind of the cheesiest way possible, even though one of my favorite bands, but I found my family on the city streets, and it's like, it wasn't the city streets, but it was these dirty basements. It was these small bars. It was
parking lots.
Yeah. Hanging out in parking lots till 2 a.m.
Right.
Going to Denny's after the shows.
Any diner back in the day.
Yeah.
I actually saw a TikTok yesterday that was talking about how like the reason that young, like adolescent men are drawn to hardcore is because it's like the only time where it's like the only time as a young adult like you're encouraged to like have emotions that aren't just like like how many times have you fucking told someone or like been in a band and like been like, I love you?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like those are like the first people, and it's like the only time where it's not weird.
Yeah.
It's
I still tell my old friends from that era that I love them.
And you get that.
They're family to me.
You get that, like, it's the only time that as a young adult you're encouraged to even have like explore your like anger and your hatred and all of those things. Like, it's like a safe place for you to do that. It's the only, which is weird
and a release
for a lot of people to
pent-up
understand
shit,
because they
too.
don't, like, you look at it from the outside and it's like seems like a violent subculture, but there's also that like underlying like happiness, love, like all of those things that you are kind of stifled as a young man.
Yeah, I had speaking of therapists, I had a therapist back in like 2006. I had a band called Ignorance, and I mean, I made 3 references in songs to killing myself. Yeah, you know, and she had said to me, why don't you sing about the things that make you happy instead of the things that make you sad? And my first reaction was, fuck this bitch. Yeah. But years later, I really understand that. And I look at some of the, you know, doing Yellow Stitches. Now there was drugs, there was violence, but we were singing it in a, like, but we're all doing this together. We're having fun with our friends, right? It was, we sang from, not that all the things were positive, and sometimes I reflect and go, should I have encouraged these kids? When people tell me their children's favorite band is Yellow Stitches, I'm like, why are you doing that? Why are you allowing this in your household? If my kid ever tells me her favorite band is Yellow Stitches, she's never leaving her room right above here ever again. But you know, I learned though that doing that from a positive frame of mind, from doing it from a, hey, this is what I enjoy, this is how I'm having fun, these are my friends that I care about, did help. Yeah. You know, even I wasn't the one singing in that band, and I you know, I had a couple of lyrics, but like just being on stage and seeing everybody smile and sing in a way that they're not, you know, and I still love, you know, the hardest bands, you know, and like I saw a Missing Link recently, which is really not my cup of tea, but like they're just breakdown after breakdown after breakdown, and we're watching these kids kill each other.
Energy,
like this is like I miss this. You know, I don't want to do it because it feels terrible now. But you know, but doing it from a positive point of view, like doing it from a like not seeing people kick each other and try to hurt each other, and just singing along and enjoying it. And there's value to both. Don't get me wrong. But that clicked finally after a long time. And then I watched some of my friends now. My friend Josh is in the band Skinhead. He is the band Skinhead. You know, Haywire. They're writing these songs, you know, stories of things they enjoy, and it's cool to see that evolution. And it's like, now I want to grab every young kid and just be like, think of what you're grateful for. Put those in your songs. Like, you know, I think there was one more thing on my list here. Oh, This I don't even know if this is another ChatGPT thing
Yeah.
that came up, and I don't know why it would know this about you.
Yeah.
You go to Concord Christian Academy.
That's what I grew up in.
Okay.
So
Are you a religious guy now?
I am.
Okay. Now that's interesting to me because to me, punk rock and hardcore are so far disconnected from that.
Yeah.
And I respect anybody's spirituality. Like
Yeah.
I consider myself atheist, although I do believe there is something spiritual out there that we will probably sometime in history, not in our lifetimes, be able to explain scientifically what that is, what that
whatever
force
it may be.
in the world is. But I find most people that went to religious schools tend to go the complete other way usually. What was that experience like for you growing up in a school like that?
It was in some ways, back then when I was very young, it was a mask. Okay, because I, just in my genes, am a devil's advocate or the anti-established. Like I do the opposite of what I'm told.
Yeah, I mean, religion's the oldest establishment there is.
Right. Yeah. So I knew it. In some ways, maybe was indoctrinated in some ways, but there was something else in there that was calling to me. I felt like an outcast no matter where I was, to be honest with you. And then when I was in the punks and hardcore scene early, especially, and mid, near the end, a lot of people knew that I was, Christian or religious, whatever. And I was an outcast sometimes in those groups too, because of it.
Yeah.
So, I'm okay with that, and I don't push myself on anybody like I grew up in, right? I know the balance and what the, my choice is my choice thing, right? So it gave me values. It gave me structure in a lot of ways. There was a lot of negative as well. But that's within any, I think, organized group, whether it be science, religion, or politics, right?
And life in general. There's yin and yang.
Yeah. And so it's funny. It goes back to Colorado. I moved out to Colorado, went to a Christian college there for like a year and a half, questioned everything, didn't believe in anything, right? Then I hung out at Paris and the Platte, and I had one of my closest friends, Satan worshiper, the priest of his coven, whatever. And then I had next to that a guy from seminary, and then a guy next to that, a girl that was a Hindist, like different walks of life and religions. And we all just...
It's like a setup for a joke.
Atheists. Like there was a ton of atheists because it was a punk rock cafe.
Yeah.
But we had the coolest conversations of all time, and nobody was like, like, fuck you. Like, your group
it's
hates
so sadly lost.
Right.
That thing. And it's like, I get pushback from people of like, well, the thing they believe is fucking up the world.
Yeah.
It's like, that might be true, but you're not going to change it with hatred and anger.
Right.
And
it might, and that label,
and I'm not talking about religion. I'm just meaning everything.
Everything and anything.
Yeah.
The label that you give a group, it's not the whole group that's doing this bad thing.
Right.
It's a little group within that group. You might find out that most of that group loves you and wants to work with you. They might not agree with whatever your is, but they're not going to act violent or cast you out like this small group did. That small group, they're the problem. So that's what it really comes down to. And back then, like, it was chill. Like, it was just like, it actually made me question what I think, what I believe. I looked at it all, and it actually strengthened that I actually do think and believe what I believe. Keep in mind, I also believe that free will is free will. Other people's, experiences and their perspectives are important. And I might help them. They might decide to ask me about what I believe and maybe come along, but I'm not requesting that or making that my goal. You know what I mean? It's just finding your own path. Like, what matters for you.
I think that anything that, as long as you can take anything, and if that's improving your life without taking away from somebody else's life, do it.
Do it.
Just do it, because it's so hard. Life is so hard.
Yeah.
And if you find strength through religion, and you're not doing anything within the religion to fuck up anybody else's life, more power to you.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't I be happy for that?
That's
you
just
know?
it. That's the
And
that's the
I
important part.
did spend a lot of years being adamantly. I mean, there was a part of my life you could have asked me. I would have had like the take of outlaw religion. I cheered for the church burnings in
all
Europe.
that
You
stuff.
know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
I
for
was
sure.
I was there for
Yeah.
sure.
I have friends that still
you know,
treat that way.
and it's when you get into the Westboro Baptists or these other kind of that use religion for strictly for hate, well, still fuck them,
Right.
but
Absolutely.
but everything else, it's like, who am I to judge?
How are they hurting you?
I can't prove you wrong,
Right.
You know what I mean? You
No
can't.
one-
That's
the
kind of
thing.
the fun play
Yeah.
of religion is
Yeah.
like, in my heart, it's like, okay, it's probably not real,
Right.
Like that's how I feel,
Right.
Like, but I can't really tell you for sure.
None of us know
Somebody
for sure.
did write it down in a book,
Right.
But like a lot of times I'm like, the Bible, Harry Potter, like, like these are just stories,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But it's like I heard somebody, a comedian, talking the other day about making fun of certain things and groups, and he's like, hey, I'm not doing it out of hate, like, and he's a religious guy, and he's like, I believe in God, I believe, and he goes through the whole like Jesus coming to, or God coming to earth in the form of Jesus, and then rising, the
sacrifice. And,
the whole thing. He goes through the whole. He goes like a good. He's on stage doing this, and he goes through a good like 2 minutes of serious like describing the biblical story of Jesus's birth,
Right.
and coming the resurrection. Was it resurrection?
Resurrection.
Is that the right word?
Yep.
And then he goes, "That's pretty fucking weird."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if anybody that doesn't believe that is going to hear me say it, or if they've never even heard it, they're going to go, "That is weird as shit."
Unbelievable.
And if you want to make fun of it on a stand-up stage, go for it. I get it. It's hilarious. I am weird. So
if God exists, he probably has a fucking humor about
and
it.
I love comedy, and I thought that was a great take on comedy in general. Of like, hey, we're all weird. Like, let's make fun of it together.
Yeah.
Like, not.
I'm
Like,
100% on board with that.
yeah. All right. We're about we're a little over an hour in. That's usually my target.
Yeah.
Anything. Obviously, go to Brothers Cortado.
Thanks.
Saturdays for the cinema roll.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And also, we never brought this up, and I meant to.
Yeah.
You have frittatas.
Yep.
Which is that? Or you call them quiches? Or
Frittatas.
Frittata. Okay.
Yep.
It's not. I don't really know the difference between a frittata and a quiche.
Real quick.
Okay.
Quiche has bread. Frittatas do not.
Okay, that makes sense.
So we can make it gluten free.
Because I make a frittata at home,
Yep.
and I always just thought I was just replacing the bread with sausage on the bottom layer.
Oh, that sounds good, though.
So that's I do a very simple recipe
Yeah.
for me is I just combine feta cheese.
Yeah.
Spinach and sausage. I mix it all together.
Sounds like what we make.
Press it in the bottom of the. Yeah, yours are very similar. And I press it into the bottom of the pan, and then I pour the scrambled egg over top.
That sounds great.
And then that's my breakfast
Literally
for the
what we
week when
do,
I
but
it.
big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love that you have those
Yeah.
because it's a great, healthy breakfast option. It's quick.
It's quick.
It's quicker than going to get eggs anywhere else because that's one of the problems with breakfast is like quick breakfast is usually not healthy breakfast.
Correct.
And that is a great, quick, healthy breakfast. You got them ready to go. You warm them up. You hand it out. And it's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, Brothers for Cortado for great coffee.
Yeah.
Cinnamon rolls and the frittatas are awesome. Anything coming up? Anything you want to promote? Where do people find you?
Yeah.
Everything you want to get out there.
So Brothers Cortado, you just look it up on the internet for our Instagram. I mean, that's basically our handle, Instagram. We have a Facebook as well if you're into that. And then we do have a website, but it's not really operable. But yeah, our Instagram is where we put everything, really. So if you want any information about like upcoming events and so on, it'll be there. We're looking forward to Halloween Howl. We're going to be open late. We just did
A great
Oktoberfest
event in
the Square.
Concord.
Yeah, it's great.
Yep.
Then we have Midnight Merriment, also something huge that we're doing. For right now, our specialty is a pumpkin latte where we actually make pumpkin puree. We don't actually make a syrup. It's a pumpkin puree. We put it into our milk. It's
So
really
there's
good.
legit pumpkin.
Because
I always have a problem when people say I'm getting a pumpkin coffee because usually it's just pumpkin spice.
We have big containers of pumpkin.
Wow. Okay.
And we make
gonna
a
have to try
mash
that.
out of it. It's good. So we are doing that right now. We're actually working with UNH Law right now to do promos with them. So we have a lot of things happening to the community. Nothing, no events other than Halloween Howl and Market Days. But yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot for coming in.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been great.
Yeah, go. Like I said, I'm reiterating, doubling down. Go to Brothers Cortado. You
Cool.
won't regret it.
Yeah, thank you guys.